You are quite a pencil as a video so. And then so, sorry, you know, in India, Felix Kwakye Ofosu on the Casama abandoned the Cremono Edin Sem, Bakumu be Atuga. I watch say, you know, no more or more treasury bills near the Adeno, or more bond or Ghana Hanomono. A idea by no one to me into your own interest in Emma Womo. Now, for instance, no music can so a Modecoto Honomono. A buying a befa a moon about 30% na what you are 70% penadiama womo. A same way and I ama ye corn in chance cocoa jinchimo. Inti Mama young corn in chain and concogitum near his city usika a semono. You see FI na ye bar Yababa comment and then most of my venture and more FSA a same way. Na tidin niti said the Unia Bemano, I friend of Felix Kwakye Nakaneno Kasama abandana Ikremono, said you CD and Samoa Yakan a CD A Tubia, and to me on Concoti in your Felix Kwakye.
To the budget, inflation was at a 22-year high of about 40%. Our exchange rate has collapsed. Today, when you go to some forex bureaus and you do other transactions, the exchange rate is at $1 to 15 cedis. It is a fact of life, everybody knows it. Fuel prices have gone through the roof, selling at the highest level ever. Today, a gallon of diesel covers around 100 cedis and beyond, depending on where you buy it. Our public debt is at the highest level ever, even though the minister tries to conceal the true amount by capping it at September. We all know that it has crossed the 500 billion Ghana cedi mark if you add contingent liabilities, which are due. The minister himself alluded to it in the budget. And then the exchange rate depreciation that has swelled up the foreign component of the debt. So it's exceeded 500 billion. And if you compare it to the fact that it was 120 billion at the time that this government took over, and they made so much noise about it, especially the Vice President, Alhaji Bawumia, you see that it has been a spectacular collapse in terms of the management of the public debt. So all of these facts were known. And born out of this are unprecedented hardships that Ghanaians have never seen in their lifetime. Except that this budget only confirmed what we all know and revealed that the problems were even deeper than we had earlier imagined. Because to begin with, if you read the budget, government has missed all its targets. The biggest problems we had were the public debts and then the escalating fiscal deficits. You see, government set a target that at the end of this year, they will achieve a budget deficit of 6.2%. By the third quarter, they are doing 7.4%. In the third quarter, they said they will achieve 6.2%. They've done 7.4%, which is 1.2 percentage points above their own targets. Now they say they will achieve 7.7%, and I can assure you that they will exceed that. And we are most likely to end up with double-digit deficits at the end of this financial year. This is only for September, which will be a monumental disaster. What we call the primary balance. That means the difference between your expenditure and revenue. If you take out interest payments, they projected that they will do 1%. Now it is 2%. Far more. That is 100% increase over the projection that they made for the budget. So everything is off gear. But I'm quite frankly surprised that my brother seeks to find some positive in this, but there's nothing positive about it. Go to the appendices. And I will encourage everybody who reads the budget to go to the appendices, because that's where the real meat is. They hide it under long tables, but that is where the real meat is. Look, they projected that this year they will pay about 40 billion Ghana cedis in interest payments and amortization. That is paying down the debts that we owe. As I speak to you, they have brought back a new projection of 44 billion, which is even likely to be exceeded. They said they will pay interest of 32 billion and amortization of 8 billion. Now they have revised it to 9.7 billion I beg pardon for amortization as of the third quarter, and 11.3 billion for this year. So they are going to exceed it by 3 billion Ghana cedis. So the money that we set aside to pay interest is going to go up, which then means that it will affect expenditure in critical sectors of the economy. Look at their revenue projections. You recall that when the 2022 budget was presented, we cautioned that the revenue projections were overambitious. They will never be met. They said, oh, they could meet it. They had e-levy, which will yield 6 to 7 billion per annum. By the third quarter, they were incurring a deficit of 2 billion in the revenue that they had projected for the year. And we expect this revenue shortfall to continue at the end of the fiscal year. So there's nothing about this budget that should excite anybody into thinking that we are going to come out of the economic mess that Alhaji Bawumia has supervised anytime soon. Look, you see, it is bad enough to mismanage the economy, but it is even worse when you try to disrespect the people you are governing and insult their intelligence. My brother is sitting here saying that the increase in VAT of 2.5% is not an increase, it's only a restoration of the previous amount. That is not the case. Look, they did not reduce VAT. What they did is that they hived off 5%, which was made up of 2.5% NHIL and 2.5% Get Fund Levy. So initially it was 17.5%. 5% of that went into NHIL levy and then Get Fund Levy. So they just separated the two. Indeed, if you look at the calculation, because of the separation, you and I were paying more than before. So if you add 2.5% to the 12%, it comes to 15. If you add it to the previous figure, that's over 20%. So VAT exceeds 20% as I speak to you. If you add the 1% COVID levy, which is essentially VAT, that is 21%. So the claim that you have not increased VAT is insulting to the intelligence of people you are governing. You are going to do the thing, it's in black and white, it's glaring, and you are denying that you have not done it. You know, we need to be fair to the people that we are governing. And, Annie, they have also done a reversal of the benchmark revenues. You will call the song and dance that Alhaji Bawumia made of it. The ill-advised reversal, the ill-advised reduction in the benchmark revenue, which did not have any impact really because prices did not come down because it was undermined by exchange rate depreciation and inflation. So people were paying more even when we were told that the benchmark revenues had been reversed. Now they have brought it back. So it's also going to lead to an increase. If you're interested in corporate tax, now it has moved, they've increased the threshold from 25% to 35%, but that is for people within the higher income bracket. So it is perhaps not appropriate to discuss it. But even rich people also have a right to complain if they are paying more than before. Then, in addition to this, they come and tell us that they are going to do a debt exchange. You know, they deserve the equivalent of the Nobel Prize in the use of euphemisms. They are going to do debt exchange. It is simply debt restructuring. What it simply means is that you are going to get a haircut. If you have lent money to government and have agreed on a certain amount of interest over a certain period and a certain amount of principal, the Minister of Finance has announced that you are going to get a haircut. You will not get what was promised you. And this morning, Joy FM is reporting, and there's no reason to dispute what they have put out. Already, bondholders have formed consortiums. They have hired experts and lawyers to help them negotiate. Government itself has appointed at least 2 consultants to engage in restructuring. The objective is that they are not going to give people what they promised them. It is almost cast in stone that external bondholders are going to suffer a 30% cut in their principal and a 20% cut in their coupon rate or interest rates. The maturity rates, the maturity dates for their bonds will be extended by 20 years. For domestic bondholders, the whole of 2023, there will be no interest payments. In 2024, they will get 5%. In 2025, they will get 10%. This is not what they agreed with them. This is a haircut. Meanwhile, the president of Ghana has stood in front of you and I on television and told us that there will be no haircut. So even the credibility of this government is in tatters. You cannot believe what the president tells you